So I've known Sir for a very long time. In fact, just met him recently also, and it's thank you for coming. Honor to have you over here. Um, for the audience, I'm sure most of you they know you, but just to get top of your mind, what are the key initiatives that you feel that you're currently driving, and where we can partner?
So where do I begin? Samasto Namaskar. We need to, I think, it's important to get our the blood circulation going. Otherwise, it's too cold, you all will be sleepy. So can we have a round of applause for Microsoft and Elets? Good. So where do I begin? I would admit that I'm not prepared. I have been traveling on and off. My watch is showing a wrong time of IST now. So you will bear with me if I don't do very well in
This
answering.
is not a question.
You asked about the key initiatives that we are doing. You know that Odisha government has adopted IT in a very big way, especially since 2019. But it's not only since 2019, much before. This is the only state which, since last 12 years, operating on a IT platform for its own processes. So you don't see, when you imagine a government setup, a office of a government department, you would first imagine files, physical files. We don't have them. So we are on a digital platform since last 12 years. That's a big statement because it's the only state which has been able to do this over such a long time. In terms of no need to clap, no need to clap. In terms of initiatives, there are key initiatives which we are doing since 2019 is under the framework of 5T. So 5T, I think here the audience is very well aware. I will not bore them with the details, but the entire governance system is now geared up for transformation, not incremental changes. Incremental changes will happen. Our population is growing, so everything will grow. So if you are registering, for example, even Microsoft, if you register 3%, 4% growth rate, they will chuck you out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you need to think big, and in the governance sector itself, we are now thinking in terms of where we can do massive improvements, not simple improvements. So that is the whole soul of the 5T, and in each of those verticals of the 5T, there is technology. So we try to bring in a lot of transparency to the processes. We try to bring in a lot of collaborative efforts, teamwork to the processes, and we try to bring in reduction of time as quickly as possible to deliver. All these three things can happen only by adopting more and more technology. We do, if I take examples, let's start from the basics. So we are all aware about the Maslow's hierarchy. So we start from the basics. So talk about education, where the government is supposed to be there all their lives. So in education, what we do, we have a platform which is called SAMS, Student Assessment Admission Management System. So almost last 7 years, the college admission in Odisha, there is no physical paper. Entire college admission. So when we started this, everybody said, no, half of the state doesn't have internet. We don't have computers available in colleges. How this will happen? You'll have to buy a form, get it filled up, then somebody will scrutinize. But we took out the entire thing by adopting this. What we did was, at the time of admission, that's a 2-month admission period in a year. So we set up camps, digital camps, in different areas. So block wise, in district headquarter wise, and we bring the teachers for the process validation, and everything we do on computer. And no admission fees and nothing transparently gets done. So in last 7-8 years, you would not hear anyone complain about college admission in the state. And today we are talking about transforming schools. So we have taken up almost 10,000 schools where we are changing the entire school, not only physically, but also how the pedagogy will be delivered. So we have currently we have completed about 6,500 schools, which we fondly call them as 5T schools, which has seen the transformation. You talk about things like a digital library, a top-end science lab, a digital classroom, everything is there in all of the schools. And I proudly say that most of the schools which are in the interior, the state, are better than the private schools in Bhubaneswar. So that's what we have done in education. We have done in health. what I think is a flag bearer state for the country, where we have now assured 85% of the population a health assurance of 5 lakh rupees per family per year. Subsequently, if there are women in the families needing more, another 5 lakh rupees is given per year for women. And this has not been done anywhere in the country. Everybody does health insurance. Insurance meaning, if you somebody breaks their leg, God forbid, nobody should, and you go to the hospital, and the bill is about, let's say, 2 lakh rupees for the surgery and everything. The insurance will accept only certain amounts. So maybe they will accept 1,50,000 rupees. It's a big thing. 1,50,000 rupees the insurer taking up. But who is going to pay that 50,000? Are people, because they can't afford that 50,000, they will not take that insurance. They will suffer but not go to the hospital. So to break that barrier, what we did, we said they go to the hospital, and it is what I really like about IT is that IT should never be on the forefront. It should be always in the background. And in the entire Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana which we have rolled out, it's a massive project. The entire backbone is IT. So somebody goes to the hospital, they all have been given digital cards. There is a POS machine. You just swipe that, get the iris scanned or your fingerprint given. You are authenticated through Aadhaar for self, individual authentication. And the packages are ready with the hospitals. They offer you all services. They claim it from the government directly. So not a rupee is transacted between the patient and the hospital. That is transformation. So I talked about education. I talked about health. I can go on talk about how e-governance is done. We have a portal Odisha one where almost citizen service 600 G2C services are onboarded on single platform. We are able to give that. And while giving that on online, we also realize that not everybody is online friendly. And it's not about not having or having internet. There are some people who are not comfortable using that. My father will not use that. They will not be able to fill up forms on Google Sheets or your Microsoft forms. You require assisted models in most of the places. So what we have done is we have created some centers. We call this the most Seva Kendras, the service centers, across all the state. We have about almost 6,500 such, and we are adding, every day we are adding more and more. So you just go there, pay 10 rupee or 15 rupee, that's the fee. Each of the 600 services are available to people, and they don't really have to be on the platform. But if you are well enough, well versed, can do it for free from your mobile, from your computer, like that. I can go on like this, but I think that will take a long time. I have taken all 4 minutes.
Also, what we are doing is in education, and the team is over here to present about that. There is a whole lot of innovation happening. Today, I was talking that there is low code. There is code which is written absolutely in your language. A small child can develop an application. There is no more those codings in C++, Java that you require to know. Artificial intelligence is actually going to make your life a little better, both in terms of giving services to the citizen and receiving feedback from the citizens in their very own pace. That is one. My next question to you is, I've seen a phenomenal rise in the budget allocation. I believe there is 356 crores being allocated to the IT budget this year. So which are the key areas with which you look forward to investing that?
I think the people who did that, he is sitting here. My good friend, he does the budget preparation. Budget for IT department is irrelevant. So I think what you have read the numbers are actually not the numbers. How does this happen? We are a vendor to the government, like you are to your clients. The IT department is a vendor to the rest of the government. So we implement their projects at their cost. The budget that you are talking about, 350 crore, is for our own consumption for ourselves. So that's not the budget. The Odisha government's budget on IT spending would be about 2,000 crore or more. That's my assessment. It is no less than 2,000 crore. IDCO, which develops the infra, we are currently in pursuance to create almost about 2 million square feet of ready built up area. That's not from our budget. That's from the industry department budget. The school I talked about, 10,000 schools where we did IT. That's from the school mass education budget. So every department's larger chunk of the budget actually is spent on the uh, by the IT department. But keeping it aside, the major focus in the budget this time has been, if you go through, there's a thematic change. So there was a way in which the budgets were prepared earlier, and I must give my compliments to the entire finance department. In 2 days' time, they changed the whole tone of the budget. Currently, we are not talking about Odisha budget. We are talking about new Odisha budget. So, what is in the budget for the new Odisha? It is not the Odisha of 20 years back where we were struggling for food, struggling for power, struggling for everything. So, when we talked about things were ancient, that phase is gone. So, here, whatever the young people that I am seeing, they won't relate to that phase at all. So, what's there for the new Odisha in the current budget? In the Department of IT, I will tell you what we are doing. There are three areas in which we are investing, not financially, emotionally, and strategically. One is that we think skilling will be hugely important. And in skilling, our children who are in schools and colleges need to be taught a different language. So they can't just do math, science, SST, Sanskrit, or Odia and get through life. Those may or may not be as relevant it is today and going forward. It will not. So can we give them a glimpse of things what is going to come up in future? If we don't, they will be hesitant in future. You know, the adaptability of people to new things is easier, much more faster when they are younger. So that is why children learn languages better and faster than we can try to. So when they are, people say there are arguments against it, but we are not saying that children who are 7 or 8 year old should be taught how to code. No, they should be taught that there is something called as code there. They should not be afraid to look at code. They need not do it. What is AI? When we talk about AI, some of the faces will show some amount of grimace. Will think, oh, that's beyond me. Whether I'll be able to do it or not. Some people of my age or little elder, I don't think they will understand anything about Bard and Chat GPT.
Not true.
It's true. I'm telling you, there is a entry barrier to technology. Our whole point of investing in skilling is to break that barrier. So, for example, how you take to maths when you are too young, then also you start your number counting. So, can we do the number counting on tech for people who are young? That's the challenge. So, the entire nation, I think, is thinking in that direction. So, in budget, we have focused on that. So, we will have a lot of center of excellences in each colleges, each school. There will be things which will be taught or children will be exposed to, which they will feel free to take up if it interests them. The focus of the government is to channelize and push a little to children to go into the area of STEM. That's the focus. Now, there are people from humanities who will argue against it. I take that argument that every subject is good. But it is historically we are seeing that India as such and rural India more so, they are hesitant to get into science mathematics stream. And that is putting a lot of burden on only the manpower that we have. We can be the capital of manpower provision for the tech world forever. We are the largest population in the world, the country. Why is that only so few people are going to US and you are celebrating 10 people going to US, 20 people, my child has gone to this country. Every country's major population in tech should be from this part of the country, from India. So that's our focus. We will do center of excellences. We will get them into the machine learning, getting into the AI, getting into all emerging techs. We'll give them a flavor. So that's one. Second bucket is that we see the software is now in autopilot. So we know this is going to go on. Nobody can stop us in that. But India is not there in the hardware market. So we are designing something which we call it as the Odisha chip program, the O-chip. First time a state has dared to think in terms of designing a program for chip manufacturing. And we are looking at designing, prototyping, and skill development for that industry. And we can produce at current level 5,000 kids, high-end chip designing. If you do that, I think they will be, not only they will get employment at a much higher level, the world would require them. Because with the geopolitics, whatever has happened today, the requirement of people who had knowledge and capacity to design is so huge. And that is where we want to train them. So I said three buckets where we are focusing. One is the chip. Second is, I talked about the skilling part. Third is the infra. Infra in terms of we are planning to have a consortium. Is almost in the final stages. I will not jump the gun, but we are looking at doing a cable landing station in Odisha, and we are betting big on the data centers. So you would understand that language far better. Going forward, when the government of India finally does come out with the act, which is still pending, all data will have to be consumed here and produced here, and will be kept here, processed here. Data center is going to be the new ESDM game changer market, and for that, the soul of that will be the undersea cable landing station. So that is where these are the three areas in which broadly we are putting this 350 crores to accelerate data IT for the next 10 years.
So I'm happy to share that on the skilling part, Microsoft does partner with Odisha. We have about 13,000 people already skilled and employed, 5,000 people, children going through skilling. And that's a commitment as a company we make. We believe in empowering every individual to do more. That's been our mission, and I'm happy to do that. Share that with you. Just one last final thing, and this is what the secretary also mentioned, the minister also mentioned. There was fantastic thing that happened very recently. Was a cabinet meeting took place where the chief minister was actually traveling. E-files were done. So I just wanted to bring it out because that's a kind of real vision. And in terms of productivity, you being able to do that has been fantastic too. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think what we can do is we have 2-3 minutes. If anybody has a question, I am happy to take. I have taken his question. So anyone want to ask any question? Because I am not very well prepared, so I can take questions. Anyone?
Ground station as a service. So using they can develop a small, cheap and small satellite CubeSat kind of things. They can send it to the space, and using the Microsoft orbital, they can communicate and they can send the signal, they can get it the signal. If some kind of collaboration can happen, our school going small students, small kids, they can also get a very good exposure to the space technology in collaboration with Microsoft and the State Department, sir.
Absolutely. Point well taken. I think we'll talk now. I am in charge of ORSAC, so we'll be able to do that very quickly. No problems at all. I'll talk to them and get it onboarded. Anyone else? I think we pitched it a little too heavy for them. So that is why. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I thank Microsoft and Elets for letting me have this stage. Thank you so much.